Hi, I'll be showing you how to repair an indecent, uh, indecent, indecent washing machine. It's got a common fault with it where the caps will bulge or vent. The difference being as to whether it's completely popped or whether it's partially functional. So when it bulges, it's partially functional, and when it vents, means at the top there has a hole in the center of it. Right, so this and that have gone. I don't know whether you can see it. It's angled like that. The top is angled like that, which normally it should be flat. And once it comes out, that means it's blown. When my friend originally did bring it to me, he said, although it didn't look right, it did still function. The voltages did still go through, but he's not had much experience with electronics, so he brought it over to me, and on just a quick visual inspection, I could tell that that's gone. So I'm going to be quickly replacing that. I managed to find my parts on eBay. Yeah, believe it or not, it's a lot cheaper than trying to get from RS or Maplins. I think Maplins don't even stock capacitors, or would they do assorted varieties of capacitors. So this has just cost me under a fiver for 2 caps. Yeah, I know it's a little expensive, but yeah, RS I think charge £5 just for the delivery. Right, so yeah, try to go for the closest value. So when you remove it, the voltage doesn't matter so much as long as it's above the one that was used, above the voltage that was used. So this brown cap here, if I can focus into it, there says 680 microfarads, 10 volts, and this one is a standard 470 microfarads, 10 volts. Again, what I managed to do was find the right capacitance, but the voltage rating was 16, so that should be okay. So let's see if I can, there we go, 470, 16. So that's going to replace that one there. Right, for that. And the other 680, 16 volts is yeah, there we go. Right. So that little symbol there next to the 680 is called micro. So that's 1/millionth. That's 1/millionth. Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a few pointers on how to solder, because normally when you're working on reworking a PCB, you need to be able to desolder capacitors. They are difficult to get out. So a tip would be to just solder them both at the same time. And this is not mounting for some reason. Trying. So I'm just going to give you a quick pointer on how to solder or rework a PCB. Soldering normally was intended for a one-way process, but us being electricians, we need to be able to repair. So what you need to do is reflow both the two pins that you're trying to extract the cap off, and then pull it out. Right. So best way to do that is to flood it. It's one of the methods. Is warm it up again and pull the leg out. It would help if I had the right one. Right, that's out. That's out. The reason we do it this way is so that you don't pull the track off, because normally what happens is when you've warmed it up and then you try to use a wick before removing the component, it's going to leave solder around the track, the pin to the track, and as you go to pull it out, it normally pulls the track out with it, damaging the track and the board. One special ingredient that you need to have is flux. If you don't have flux, try to go without, but I like to do things in a clean fashion. See that? Try not to inhale the fumes. Right. You can see there's some right. You can see that there was some gun glue, and that's just covered the track, but you can see there's a clean hole there. I might just need to clear out that hole just so that I can get good continuity, otherwise it's not going to get soldered in correctly. I'm just going to pause the video for a second. Right, I'm back. I've given it a clean, it just scraped off easily. I think the flux mixed with it and it came off very nicely. So now you should be able to see two clear holes. That would be these two holes. Wrong end of the camera. Can you see those two holes? Right, so we're just going to turn it over. Right. Also, yeah, one thing I missed out is Roche. There's two types of board, one which is leaded and unleaded. Roche is generally unleaded. Sorry, generally it is always unleaded. Right. Note the markings, plus and the negatives marked with a round circle, or shall I say cathode is marked. Cathode has on the capacitor it has a long strip, just in case if you didn't see the old one come out. So that's the old one, and that's the new one. So that there with okay, I got the wrong one. Focus in. It's not doing it. Right. Anyway, it's 470, 10 for 470, 16. Yeah, there we go. So that's your faulty one. You see that's peaked, and that's not. Okay, right. The markings now. The shorter leg is the cathode. Longer leg is anode or positive. Yeah, you're just gonna straight put it through. Best to go flush to the board. Although in this case, because it wasn't like that to begin with, it's probably not so necessary. But I like to do a neat job. You got to make sure that the solder goes through the board, because it can stay on the top, which could lead to dry joints later on. Normally you see it sink after, you normally see it sink after you reflow it, but I think this one's already done. Yeah. Okay. Right, now this. So what we're going to do now is trim the legs back. Go all the way down. Right. That's one cap done. The right way as well. No damages. Right. Locate the other one, which was there, and that other one is just there. How do I know? Because there was a cap next to it there, and then across it. So that's that one that we done there, and there. Those two other ones. Alright, we're going to do the same method again, which is try and get as much solder onto the track as we can. Get on there. Sometimes what happens is after soldering, they coat it. The manufacturers coat it with a form of varnish, just to make it waterproof and water repellent. And this coming from a washing machine probably needs it now. Right. So what we're trying to do is burn through that layer and get to the solder. I would say that's gone through to it. Right, what we're going to do now is, like we did with the last one, is just warm it up, bend the pin outwards like that, because it's the way the pins are, and this time put it back as I'm warming it up, and again the other way like that, and I'm out. There we go. Right, now I'm gonna clear the holes. So you need your wick, put it over the like that you're trying to take it off. You should use flux if you have, but I think we won't really need it. That's one done. And be careful, the wick does get hot. Oh, and if at any point the wick does get stuck, don't yank it, you'll damage the track. Right, I think I've got 7. Yeah, that's clear. Okay, right. If you want to check whether the hole is clear, you should be able to see that through the hole. Best to check it against a white background. Right, that is there. That is that done. Right. Okay. Just so I can show you what the difference was between the two. Yeah, 10 volts and 16 volts. This is the replacement one, and that was the original one, capsicum. Yeah, capsicum. Okay. Again, cathode is marked with a ring around the leg, so the long strip needs to go through that. You will notice it probably won't sit right, but that's okay because that's the way we had it. And it's just a matter of filling the solder. Now, what I'm going to show is how the solder sinks. So, smoke. So, if you can see that leg there, wait for it to focus. Come on. Oh, this is going to be annoying. I don't know whether you can see that. Nope. I might need to explain that later on in a diagram. Right, because it's not flowing too well, I'm going to use a bit of flux. That normally does do the job. So what's happening is, right, the solder is, the pin is there, and the solder is just around it like that there, in a bulge, just around there. It's not on the track, and this is a common thing that happens when you solder. That it needs to go onto the board, yeah, and hopefully sink through the board. between the trunk. Right. It's not the best of solder jobs that I've had to do, but what we're looking for is functionality, so that's the main thing. Okay, I think I am done. So I'm just cutting back the legs. Right, like that. Yeah, muck. Right, what you want is some sort of solvent to remove it. You can use a cotton bud with nail varnish remover, which is dominantly isopropanol, and that should do the job. It's just, you know, it's just aesthetics to make it look like a neat job, although it's not necessary. But if you do clear out the muck, you should be able to see. You should be able to see if there is any sort of shorts. Being the way and the spacing, the pitch between the two is very large, so I don't think that there will be any shorts, but just for cleanliness I think I will. Okay, but pretty much you are done. Yep. Right, and that is that. It's just a matter of reassembling it and back into the washing machine. And that's it. Thank you for watching.